Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? There we go. Sorry I'm late, y'all. Huh? Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Mine was very, very, very low key. There we are. I'm good, Allison. Good to see you. Huh. Well, welcome, everybody, to the General Hospital After Show. I am your host, Dion Gabriel. It's nice to see y'all again. Before we get into the recap, we do have some unfortunate news. June Lockhart, who played Mariah Ramirez, Felicia's grandmother, passed away just a couple days ago at 100 years old. Supposedly, the character was killed off sometime after 2007, although I don't recall them ever really addressing it. Like, I remember Felicia saying, like, when she came back for Georgie's funeral, that her grandmother was too sick to take care of alone anymore. Basically insinuating that she, I think, was put into some kind of more extreme care. But I don't remember them ever saying that she passed away. Um, so yeah, I don't know if it was ever fully acknowledged. But if you guys know, like if you remember a scene where they talked about it, let me know. And hey, Sandy. Um, Either way, yesterday Christina Wagner, who plays Felicia, posted a mini tribute to her, saying June was so elegant and sweet as Felicia's grandmother, but behind the scenes she was sassy and loads of fun. At the end of each workday, she would say, "The nightmare is finally over. Rest in peace, June." So that was Christina's lovely tribute to her on-screen grandmother. Uh, But yeah, my heart goes out to all of June's loved ones and all of her fans as well who are mourning the loss of this great actress. I'm probably not doing a tribute just because it was kind of a small role. Like, yeah, she was on and off from like the 80s to the 2000s, but very seldom was seen. Um, she was in her 90s. Apparently, she was 100 years old. 100 on the dot. Um, I mean, at least in the article that I read. Maybe it's inaccurate, but you know, 100 years is a milestone that I think we all want to strive for. So give her props. Give her props. Give her flowers. But yeah, now on to the recap. There is lots to discuss today. I'm sure if you guys have seen the thumbnail, you know what our kind of main topics are, but we'll get into everything all kind of sporadically, I suppose. So let's get into it if y'all are ready. So, ever since Carly found out from Jason that Jocelyn was in the WSB, I have been wondering what Carly was going to do to Jack. Because if there's one thing we know about Carly, if someone puts one of her kids in danger, she goes into full-on mama bear mode. And this week, I kind of got my answer. So when Jack comes over, Carly keeps things pretty close to the chest. She doesn't give away that she's aware Joss is in the WSB, but she does make it known that she is still angry that he put her kid in danger. And she uses Vaughn, being a WSB agent, as the reason. Um, to me, their conversation felt like Carly was giving him a chance to tell her the truth about Jocelyn, especially when she asked him to promise her that he'd let her know if she was ever in danger. And you could tell that Jack was either considering telling her the truth, or he realized that his days with Carly are numbered if she ever found out. Sorry, dude, she already knows, and you are the one in danger, my friend. What are y'all saying? Yeah, 100 years old. Allison, you said, I never knew anyone personally who made it to 90. Oh, wow. Kyle, you said all the One Life to Live references this week. I missed that. But I guess there was, well, I guess technically speaking, there was a lot of One Life characters interacting, hey? Or actors. Nice plan, looking forward to it. I love Valentine. Yeah, we gonna talk about everything. But anyway, so as soon as Jack leaves, Carly calls up Spinelli and asks him basically for a new identity and a passport. Soon after, she flies out to Steinmauer donning a brunette wig and glasses and claiming she was Valentine's lawyer. And thanks to Spinelli's skills, it worked, and she gets in to speak with him. Obviously, Valentine figured out pretty much right away that that was Carly. And basically, he asks what's going on. She actually fills him in, which is kind of, I give her props because Valentine and Jack, I feel like they have a relationship where like they hate each other, but they also respect each other in some strains. So that's, to me, that's kind of a risk to take. Although I don't know how familiar Carly was with their relationship. But yeah, Valentine gives Carly an idea of how the WSB get their hooks on new recruits, which is basically scouting out vulnerable people who have no direction, and maybe seeking justice of their own, and kind of nudging those people into the direction of the WSB. While they can't, at this point, prove one thing or another, Valentine does float the idea that Jocelyn may have killed Cyrus, and Carly, of course, is seeing red that Jack may have turned Jocelyn into a killer. So, they don't have she doesn't really have a plan yet, but Valentine suggests that she let Jack think that he's her entire world. So that when she does strike with whatever she strikes with, he won't see it coming. Allison, you said that disguise was good. Oh, you said a family friend made it past 100, still on his right mind and everything. Wow, man, that's a feat. I look at my grandmother; she's in her 80s and she's already so forgetful, and I'm like, man, I'm always worried. But if people can make it to 100 and still have all their faculties intact, then it's that's a life well lived, I think, or at least very healthily lived. They took care of themselves if they can make it that long and that sort of sharp as a tack. WSB is like the Ninja Turtles. Oh man. But anyway, my question is, how long until Jason notices Carly's acting a little bit too, in love with him? And he's gonna, once he gets wind of that, he's going to tell her to stop doing whatever she thinks she's going to do. And I'm gonna be like, Jason, just let her do it. Like, it has been far too long since we've seen Carly on a vengeance tour. Okay, I don't deprive us of this because I want to see it. Also, you said your mom is 77 and should not be driving. Oh man. Yeah, my grandmother doesn't drive, but I wouldn't trust her to anyway. Oh. All right. By the way, now in case you're wondering why or how Jack was so distracted that he didn't see Carly leave the country and go visit Valentine, it's because he's busy having his hands full with trying to figure out what Faison's franchise is up to. Now, he discovered footage of Nathan before the accident, driving his vehicle and seemingly talking on the cell phone to someone while he's driving. And he confronts Nathan on it. Nathan tells Jack he has no memory of it, And what makes it more mysterious is that the phone was never found at the scene of the accident either, which Jack does point out. Of course, Jack accuses him of lying and thinks he's in alignment with his father, and Nathan tells him that he'd have nothing to do with his father and to shove it, and he storms out of his office. I truly don't think he's lying either. I think if Nathan's been up to something shady in the last 7 years, he is seemingly blissfully unaware of it. Like, he fully seems like Nathan to me. Um, and even Jocelyn points out to Jack afterwards that Nathan was essentially a Boy Scout before he supposedly passed away. Um, what I will say is that there's people speculating in like forums, message forums, and on social media that Nathan isn't Nathan because there was a scene between him and Lulu this week where he mentions Charlotte and that he's not met Charlotte yet. But I feel like surely that was a flubbed line because, or that the writers simply forgot their story because Nathan used to think Charlotte was his. And Charlotte, she's not only 7 years old. So, like, even if the Claudette story didn't happen, like, like, he would have met her at some point. Ainsley said he drank his way through it. He was like a spare grandfather. Oh, wow. Wonderful at cooking curry goat. Nice, nice. But yeah. Yeah, exactly, Angel. Writers most likely forgot. That's what I'm thinking. It's like the time where Holly said that she never even met Bill Eckert, but they had a full-blown romance once. I don't think they're putting him and Lulu together. I think that Lulu's just being a friend to him. So anyway, Edna's been doing her own investigating as well, trying to get information out of Britt. And she, of course, gives her absolutely nothing to work with. But also makes it a point to make it known her disdain for, her deceased psychopath of a father. And that seemed authentic to me. It's just interesting because they keep flashing back to Britt checking her that box with the note that ends in C, and I'm like, they don't really think we think it's Faison, right? I don't know. I don't think it's Faison. I hope it's not Faison. As much as I love Anders Hove, I hope that it's not Faison. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Allison. Like, we know that he met her. He literally thought he was her father. Also, we still don't even know where Claudette is. Like, Valentine still stashed her a long ass time ago, and like, I think we seen Cassandra like managed to track her down and find her, and even had her put the date of whatever year that was where she did find her, and I think she was trying to use that against Valentine. Maybe it's Cassandra. Maybe Cassandra's the C in the note. I don't know. But yeah, also Anna had gone out of her way to try and get Jocelyn to work with her in regards to Faison and tell her any information because no one knows Faison better than Anna. And she tries to convince Jocelyn that, and that, her and the WSB need her to figure out what's going on here. The truth is, guys, I absolutely have zero faith that we're going to get any answers for several months. Because this seems like a story that they're going to drag out forever. Because even Kelly Thibault, during the Emmys red carpet, mentioned that she still doesn't really know, the ins and outs of what she really did. And they shoot at least, a month and a half in advance, most of the time. So we're a long way from there. But yeah, also, since Anna is so distracted by, both this and the Drew Kane stuff, which we'll get into a little bit later, her granddaughter Emma has decided to pick things up on her own little investigation on Dalton, who we haven't seen in a minute. Jocelyn tries to convince her to avoid him, But Emma just sees it as Jocelyn maybe trying to steal her job back. Hopefully, now that Gio and Emma are a thing, which I don't think we even talked about in the live stream, but yeah, they're kind of dating now. He'll protect her from whatever mess she's about to get herself into. Because Dalton is more than just a pervy guy who tests on animals. There's something far more sinister going on within that realm. So we'll figure that out later. Angel said Emma has to be a spy with another agency. She's still better than Joss being a spy. I hope Emma becomes a spy if she's not one already. I don't think she is one, but she could easily be one. Only past villain I want back is Jerry Jacks. He was funny. I miss Jerry Jacks. Sebastian Roger was a great actor. Alison, you said I'm sick of Britt's bitchy attitude towards Jason and everyone. Yeah, Britt and Carly had some funny scenes in the sauna. Just kind of clapping back and forth at each other, which was funny. Didn't really add much to the story. Just Carly being like, you're lying, and eventually everyone's going to find out what you're lying about. And Britt knows it's true. Nothing stays secret in Port Charles for too long. Sometimes a few years too long, but it comes out eventually. But since we talked about Gio, let's talk about Lois, his grandmother, because she was back in town this week, pays a visit to Sonny and asks him to help her convince Gio to see her. And he actually manages to convince Gio to come over just to see Lois. But, Lois's only motivation or motive was to try and convince him to not completely give up on music and to remind him that Brooklyn shouldn't be the one he should be angry at. Because Brooklyn was a teenager when she got pregnant with him, and she went to her mom for advice, and Brooklyn simply took her mom's advice, and that giving him up was the hardest thing she's ever done. So she's just trying to nudge Gio in Brooklyn's direction a little bit, which I think, Lois isn't wrong on that front. Like, he shouldn't be as angry at Brooklyn for giving him up, but I get it to some extent, but like I feel like most of his anger is because of how everyone, well specifically Lois and her mom, deceived him, and he was basically living a lie his whole life. Also, he said Carly should kick Britt out of her hotel. I mean, she could have, but I think she was really only in there using the spa, right? Because she's still living above Kelly's, is she not? Or Bobby's, sorry. Allison, you said at least Brooklyn is being nicer to her mom. Yeah, let's talk about that. So, the next thing on Lois's agenda was to speak to Brooklyn. It turns out that Lois was offered by Miguel's people, Miguel being Ricky Martin's old character from the 90s that she managed through L&B Records back in the day. Basically, his people asked her to manage Blaze on her tour because she's gotten a bigger fan base. She's gotten a lot more success since being on the road with him. And Lois refused to do it unless she had Brooklyn's blessing, which Brooklyn gives her because Brooklyn's not in a position to, give up her life and go on tour and manage her. And she feels that since Blaze just lost her mother, she's probably craving a bit more of a maternal energy in her life. What happened to the other hotel in town? The other hotel in town probably doesn't have a spa. I don't know. Gio's a brat at this point. It's been way too long. I don't know. I feel like it would mess me up if I knew all these things. It hasn't been that long. It's been like half a year, I think. If not less than that. But I can't blame him for struggling with his feelings. And to his credit, he is warming up to the rest of the family. So, he had some good moments with Ned and Jason at Monica's memorial service and sort of the aftermath. Um, the fact that he showed up for Monica at all was great. The fact that he stuck around and really warmed up to his family after seeing how they handled Drew was another thing. Um, but yeah, anyway, despite Brooklyn not being ready to forgive her mother, she does still love her mother, and even admits that she'll always need her mother. And the two of them shared an emotional hug that was filled with hope for their future. Even though Rena Sofer herself has officially wrapped her time on General Hospital. But she's open to make appearances every now and then if they invite her. So, the last we've seen of Rena for now. And I've really enjoyed Lois. I know that she's not everyone's cup of tea, but just having that sort of dose of like 90s larger than life characters that were made back then. And she hasn't missed a beat. She's so much like OG, like the way that she used to be. She's still got that accent down packed, and her funny personality and her blabbermouth, and I just love her. And I think that Rena and Amanda did a really fantastic job in those scenes as well. Um, Jason really wants Britt at this point anyway. Yeah. Allison said Dante didn't know he exists, and Brooklyn was a teenager who thought she was doing the right thing, giving up her baby for adoption. Hey Nathan, like I know Allison, but I think just well, he's warmed up to Dante as well, though. He gave him like didn't he give him like a coffee or something on the house at Bobby's? So he's open to building a relationship, and even Brooklyn knows that like she's more likely to have one with him, or he's more likely to have one with him before he warms up to her, because Dante was the party that didn't even know that Brooklyn was pregnant in the first place. So he's warming up to Dante a little bit. Baby steps, baby steps. It's getting there. It just says, funny that BLQ wants Gio to forgive her, but she's struggling to forgive her own mother. Yeah, that's the thing. It is what it is. But Brooklyn is at least is acknowledging, like, I'm not ready to fully forgive you, but I still love you, and I still need you in my life. So, but I guess it's a different situation when it's your own kid, I suppose. She can probably see that she's being a hypocrite, but, like, you know, it's a different ball game. She hasn't even really known where her kid was this entire time, so of course she wants to be forgiven, but, it's a big thing. It's a big thing because of the situation that sort of was bestowed on him. All right, but moving on, let's talk about the Tea Party from Hell. Since we're in Quartermain territory anyway. So Brooklyn threw this party for Ronnie as a way to introduce Ronnie to all the high society people in Monica's life, and just in Port Charles in general, from the co-chief of staff Portia to head nurse Elizabeth to the patient advocates of GH like Stella and Felicia, hostess of the nurses ball and PC historian and retailer Lucy Coe. And also Jordan, for some strange reason, was there. Lulu was also there kind of a little bit later, and Martin made an excuse to be there as well. Ronnie was obviously not used to being around these high society people. She even tried to bow to Felicia when Lucy told her that Felicia was once an Aztec princess, and Tracy was laughing in the corner. But it wasn't until after Martin introduced himself to her that things got weird. She seemed unsettled by him a little bit, or maybe nervous, but not long after that she was showing signs of being drunk. And when Tracy started to push her buttons, because obviously she was there too, supposedly waiting around to see if Ronnie would fail in a classy tea party setting, Ronnie started clapping back at Tracy, even accusing Tracy of drugging her since there was no alcohol in her breath or in her tea. Eventually, basically, she kicked her out of the house. She kicked Tracy out of her house. I have to admit, watching Erica Slezak and Jane Elliott facing off was kind of like watching an actor's masterclass. They were both so good in those scenes. Um, Tracy literally just, she was devastated that she was getting kicked out of the house because it's been ages since she has. And just sort of holding her tears and holding her breath, but also letting her anger be known and be like, there is something really wrong here because Monica is not cruel. She wouldn't leave this house to a sister in name only and disinherit Michael and leave Tracy just a jar of relish after everything they've been through in the last 45 years. And she is not wrong about that. We've seen the on screen relationship between Monica and Tracy and how much it's grown, particularly in the last 10 years. So there is no way Monica would just leave her a jar of relish. She probably would have left it partially. She probably would have left it as a joke, but like not just that. She would have left her. I think that she truly was planning on giving Tracy the house. I don't think it was going to be Michael. I think it was going to be Tracy. And then it would be up to Tracy to give Michael the house later on if she decided to. Um, but yeah. So Tracy left with her dignity intact, moved out and into poor Lulu's home with two teens in close quarters, and she took all of the Quartermain family heirlooms with her. Now, Martin tampered with the will. I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know if Ronnie's in on it. I really don't think so. Like, now, obviously, Tracy's version is that Ronnie's a drunk, and Ronnie's version is that Tracy drugged her. I don't think either of those things are true. I think it's more likely that Martin drugged her because Tracy made it a point to stay as far away as possible in the room so that she couldn't get blamed for anything. And she got blamed anyway. So, I don't know. I don't think she did it. I think, if anything, Martin would have done it because he knew that Tracy would get the blame for it because Martin wasn't there long enough to do much else. He was in and out very quickly. But yeah, I also don't believe Ronnie was in on the con that gave her the house either. I think Martin is the true mastermind behind the plan, just to stick it to Tracy. I know people theorize that Drew could be behind it too, but we saw Martin mention to Drew this week that Monica had a sister and he was surprised. And no one else was around to hear that conversation between Martin and Drew either, so clearly Drew is not in on it at all. But Drew did decide to pay her a visit after learning about her, and despite probably every Quartermain's warnings, she treated him relatively warmly. That is, until Danny and Rocco showed up and demanded he left. And for good reason. Let's talk about that. This week, Willow found herself in dire straits as Nina took a plea deal and admitted that she made up her alibi. Willow and Drew were absolutely furious, but Nina really did it because she was convinced by Marco and Nathan that not taking back her statement would be significantly worse, both for herself and for Willow. So she was doing it to protect Willow. Either way, Willow's going to need a criminal defense attorney, and Drew takes it upon himself to try and recruit Alexis by letting her see Scout in her face, which, at first Alexis refuses. But then she says that she will agree if he drops a restraining order against all of the family, not just her. And he agrees to dropping all of it except for Danny. And she reluctantly agrees to that term because at least most of the family will get to see her and Scout will be okay. The next day, she visits Willow in Pentonville and goes over her case. She swears up and down that she did not shoot Drew to Alexis and that Michael planted the murder weapon in her house. I think that Willow actually believes this, although she was still down to go with Drew's plan where he pretends to remember Michael. When Willow asks what if Drew remembers seeing the shooter as a hypothetical, Alexis points out that it wouldn't really work in their favor because the timing would be suspect. And between that and her lack of her lack of alibi, essentially, it could make things worse for her. Angel, you think that Alexis shouldn't have taken the deal? I think Alexis was thinking about Scout and how isolated she was. I can't blame her for that, really. Um, because Drew really could have found any lawyer, sadly, and then none of them would be able to see Scout. But after Alexis leaves Pentonville, after talking to Willow, she goes to Bobby's and meets Christina there because they were having dinner or lunch with Scout. And Scout was brought by the nanny, and the nanny stayed close by. Unfortunately, more bad timing. Um, Essentially, Danny and Rocco showed up to Bobby's, and the nanny made note and called Drew about it, and basically Drew asked that Scout come home. Alexis did go outside to talk to Danny and Rocco to explain the situation, and that is why Danny and Rocco end up um, being so hostile towards Drew being in the house later. Um, Also, I forgot to mention, since we were talking about Willow's alibi, as bad as Michael's alibi is, it didn't stop him from meeting up with Jacinda to discuss strategy. Jacinda had just had her own run-in with Drew when she was with Christina at Bobby's earlier in the week, and he threatened to make her life hell, as he would. Jacinda goes to Michael for help, and he thinks that the best way to help them strengthen his alibi is by pretending to be in love with each other. Jacinda's down and is smart enough to know that they're going to have to start leaving a social media presence if anyone's going to buy this relationship. And I think there is an attraction towards each other anyway. And it's not completely unbelievable that Michael would, date an escort because, she might be an escort, but he did date a stripper once too, aka Abby, if you guys remember her. He even offers to get Jacinda a better and normal job to stage their romance even better. And, I feel like they actually have some chemistry, him and Jacinda. Jacinda's growing on me as a character as well, because she really seemed like a character that wasn't going to be brought back. And just kind of like a D-list character that we were going to see just the one time. And they keep bringing her back, and she's sassy and she's a decent actress, so I don't hate them. But yeah. What are you guys saying? Angel said it's believable that Michael planted the gun, but I don't think he did the shooting. Yeah, it is believable that he planted the gun. And maybe he was trying to frame Willow, but he did not do this. Jacinda and Michael are Instagram official now. Yup. But yeah. So, just back on the Drew thing for a moment. Basically, he threatens to put Rocco and Danny in jail just in time for Laura to walk into the queues and hear it. And so now Drew has to deal with the wrath of Laura MFN Collins. I wanted to say Spencer there, but But yeah, I love when Jeannie gets to go into this strong, fierce mama bear mode. Good night, Sandy. I love it. It's so good. You think Sasha thinks about Jacinda? How would she know Jacinda? I don't think they met. Or was she there? Was Sasha there the night that Drew was drugged? Probably. Alright. But yeah, I'm going to love Monday's episode, tomorrow's episode, for sure. Finally, let's touch base on Portia's secret pregnancy. She still hasn't told anyone, but Jordan figured it out during the tea party that she was pregnant. Because she noticed Portia's reaction to finger foods and how she looked like she was going to be sick, and she left the room to get sick for a bit. And then, Jordan goes to run her mouth to Anna about it. And Trina happened to be at the Brown Dog where they were having that drink and talking about it. She didn't overhear it. But Trina does ask Jordan to stay away from Curtis so that he and Portia have a fighting chance to save their marriage. Nothing is going to save that marriage, girl. Um, Portia don't care about saving that marriage, though. Yeah, like I said, Portia don't care. She was more than gung ho to agree to go away to Isaiah's cabin as a getaway. Guess she's gonna drop the news there. So yikes. Also, Kai talked to Curtis about how he really doesn't like Drew, and I don't know if that was the right move because they're supposed to. He's basically supposed to be keeping it a secret that he hates Drew. You know, especially if he wants to keep a secret that he was there the night that Drew was shot. Obviously, we know Kai and Trina didn't do it, but you know they were there, and there's some suspicious movement of things in there as well. So who knows? Austin, you said a podcaster today said Danny shot Drew, and Michael saw it and is setting up Willow to protect him, and he hates her. Maybe. I mean, that's certainly a good theory to go by for sure. That's believable. I don't know. I guess Danny's hair is similar to Willow's in that silhouette. Angel, you said Trina is too concerned about a 2-year marriage between her biological dad and her mom. Let it go. They aren't trying. Yeah, they have no desire to be with each other. I think, if anything, Curtis just wants the marriage to stay a little bit longer, just until this whole thing with Drew blows over in terms of who did it. But, you know, good luck with that. But all right, y'all. That's it on the recap for GH. Again, I'm gonna stay off of Wednesdays for a while. Slowly but surely getting ready to do my first headliner show in November, which I'm super excited about. And I even have an out-of-town show in December, which I'm pretty stoked about too. My first out-of-town show as an artist. It's not super far out of town. It's like an hour and a half away. But still, I'm pretty stoked. So it's going to be a busy end to the year, but I'm excited for it. But I will still always be here on Sundays to recap and chit-chat about GH. And of course, if another actor dies that is, you know, like a more known, beloved character, then we'll do a live stream for them. But I just hope that GH gets a break this year, because I'm tired of doing tribute episodes for characters and actors that I love from this damn show, because they keep on dying off. It's crazy. Sorry, come on, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, I will see you guys next Sunday. If you liked this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. And I will catch you guys next weekend. Good night. Mwah.